The breaking story just moments ago, the Supreme Court and this landmark ruling, the court making same-sex legal.
I woke up this morning and I just had to.
I never thought that I would be making this video.
On August 7th, 2010, I told my family that I'm gay.
In the LGBTQ plus community, I identify as a bisexual, but I'm more gay though.
It is totally okay to be a girl who likes girls or a boy who likes boys. And me, personally, I am a girl who likes girls.
We just wanted to call and tell you.
It feels so good to say that. And I can't change. So good. Even if I tried, even if I wanted to, and I can't change. Even if I tried.
I now pronounce you married. You may seal your vows with a kiss.
You're scared for now, but learn to accept yourself before you can let people accept you. It's a lot easier once you know yourself for sure. And then once you're comfortable, go ahead and tell people you're comfortable with and just go from there.
I definitely think so, especially with laws, regarding marriage. I do think we live in a unique area where it is a lot safer. I know that it doesn't feel so safe for people who live in different perspectives. I know that in the area, a word rooted in hate, yet our genre still ignores it. Gay is synonymous with the lesser. It's the same hate that's caused wars from religion. Gender to skin color, the complexion of your pigment.
Same-sex marriage, a concept that is no stranger to modern society. Although it is more accepted now, how was it like more than 50 years ago? Over 50 years ago, homosexuals were seen as predators in society and were deeply condemned.
The CBS News survey shows that 2 out of 3 Americans look upon homosexuals with disgust, discomfort, or fear.
So if any one of you have let yourself become involved with an adult homosexual or with another boy, and you're doing this on a regular basis, you better stop quick. Because 1 out of 3 of you will turn queer. And if we catch you involved with a homosexual, your parents are going to know about it first. And you will be caught. Don't think you won't be caught. Because this is one thing you cannot get away with. This is one thing that if you don't get caught by us, you'll be caught by yourself. And the rest of your life will be a living hell.
The Diagnostic and Statistics Manual listed homosexuality as a mental illness, and anyone that had caught the disease was thrown into a mental institution, imprisoned, fired from their jobs, disowned by their family, or worse, even murdered.
You need a collar around your neck. You're a loudmouth hag, rebellious and stubborn. You're closer to a whore than a lady.
Eyewitness News exclusive disturbing video of a gay man being beaten in Queens.
The video shows 2 men kicking and punching a man on a mostly deserted street.
Lisa Howe and Belmont University parted ways after the coach shared with her team that she and her partner were expecting a baby.
Conversion therapy, often forced and cruel, varied from electroshock, covert sensitization, and aversion therapy.
My hands being tied down and blocks of ice being placed on my hands. Then pictures of men holding hands would be shown to me, so that way I would associate the concept of the pain of ice with a man touching me. It worked really, really, really well. My dad could barely even hug me anymore when I would scream out in pain. Then we went into heat. So coils would be wrapped around my hands and you would be able to turn the heat on or off. So now if we had a picture of a guy and a girl hugging, it was no pain. If there was a picture of a guy and a guy hugging, we had physical pain.
Showing the gay man pictures of nude males and shocking him with a strong electric current, he will be unable to get sexually aroused.
Apomorphine, a standard drug for this kind of cutting-edge aversion therapy. They use it at Harvard, Brigham Young, Cornell. The theory is that we're training your body to be physically repelled by certain triggers. Triggers.
In 1924, the Society for Human Rights in Chicago became the country's earliest known gay rights organization. Started by German immigrant Henry Gerber, he disapproved of the unjust views towards gay people. He was inspired by the works of Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld, which aimed to overturn the anti-gay laws in Germany. African-American Reverend John T. Graves served as president, and bisexual Al Meiniger served as vice president for the Society for Human Rights. After the group was started, police quickly arrested Gerber, Graves, and Meiniger, leading to the disbanding of the group in 1925.
Was there a lot of fear around the very subject? Was it a time in the late 40s and 50s when people were worried that they might be on a list?
Oh yes. There was a great fear there, because you see, many of us began to recognize rather early that men who had gotten their training on the Red Squads, as they had been in the 30s and 40s, or let's say in the 20s, beginning with the Palmer raids, had moved on from the Red Squad to the Vice Squad, so that they had the same training and they were doing the same kind of thing. And people were aware of the fact, for instance, right in the start of the Civil War, they used to have these civil defense committees, block committees, and that any group of people who had more than 4 or 5 different people coming to their house, there would be some busybody on the block that was writing down all the license plate numbers.
Right.
And so that, yes, there was a fear. But by the same token, we decided very early that all we needed to do, we had learned a lot by this time from the progressive movements, that all we needed to do was to create a facade.
Yeah.
And then behind the facade we could organize, which is what the Mattachine Foundation became. It became that facade, and it seemed to be built of solid marble, pink marble, of course.
The Mattachine Society became the first national gay rights organization created by Harry Hay. During the 1950s, other Mattachine societies were established in Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Denver. The Mattachine Society protested out of government buildings and held seminars. They gained their national attention when one of the members was arrested for soliciting, and the group decided to contest the arrest by hiring a lawyer. Instead of hiding their sexual orientation by taking a plea deal, the group fought back and managed to convince the court that the member was innocent. The group lasted a while until May 1953. The leaders of the Mattachine Society resigned due to their fears of being exposed. The new leadership failed and the group separated. In 1960, the Homosexual Bill of Rights was written and drafted, but drew immediate criticism. It would later become the topic of debate in the 1970s. As the gay and lesbian population grew in numbers, so did the frequency of police raids on gay bars, which resulted in arrests for being inmates of disorderly houses or breaking a law against cross-dressing.
In 1969, in New York City, there was a riot that took place. The police routinely raided the bars in New York. No big deal. It happened all the time. At the end of June of 1969, for a number of reasons, the patrons fought back, and there was a riot that lasted for 3 days.
The Stonewall Riots, or Stonewall Uprising, were a series of riots caused after police raided the Stonewall Inn, a gay bar in Greenwich Village. On Saturday, June 28, 1969, policemen entered the Stonewall Inn and arrested the employees for selling alcohol without a liquor license and customers for cross-dressing. The crowd watched as employees were being forced into paddy wagons until finally their rage grew out of control. The furious crowd began throwing bottles and debris at the policemen, causing them to retreat into the bar and call for backup.
People were screaming, "Pig, copper." People started throwing pennies.
And then everybody started to throw pennies, like they were. This is what they were, nothing but copper. Coppers. That's what they were worth.
Drag queens, lesbians, gays, transgenders, and everyone supporting the LGBTQ community fought back against the police that night.
The scene that I was focused on, which I'll never forget, was the famous line where all the drag queens were doing a Rockettes kick line, singing, "We are the Stonewall Girls, we wear our hair in curls.
We wear our dungarees above our Nelly knees. When it comes to boys, we merely hypnotize." And that's when that was enough of that.
Riots lasted for days. The Stonewall riots sparked a start in the movement for gay rights in America.
There certainly is. At least 300 people have been arrested by the police in the New York area during the last 3 weeks.
Why?
Apparently it's part of an overall nationwide program to drive homosexuals back underground now that we're coming out.
You're coming out since when?
Over the past year, homosexuals have been coming out into public, refusing to hide in the closets, as we say.
What do you want the police to do?
We want them off our backs. We want them to stop harassing us, stop pushing us around.
1970 was the spark of the gay rights movement. The first gay pride parade was held on July 28th. Thousands marched into New York Central Park to celebrate the one-year anniversary of the Stonewall riots.
We should sing our song. Mother was a lesbian.
The parade was called the Christopher Street Liberation due to the Stonewall Inn being located on Christopher Street. Several other cities also held their own gay pride parade, including Boston and Los Angeles.
Because on December the 15th, 40 years ago, the APA voted to remove homosexuality from the DSM. That act today has ensured that LGBT people are not discriminated against. From marriage equality to workplace protections, the APA took leadership in this country in ensuring that the discrimination did not continue.